So we're here, this is the second meetup, the Hackerfarm Technology and Agriculture meetup. Thank you for coming, everyone. We thought tonight what we'd do is explain a little bit more about who we are and what we're doing at FarmLab, and also then have a few other people share what they're doing as well. So, and then talk perhaps a little bit about what and how we want the group to move forward and what kind of things we want to see happen. So yeah, we've got a few of us here from Hackerfarm, and we'll go through a little bit of the FarmLab. If you have questions in the meantime, anything like that, feel free. It's pretty casual, so not so formal. First off though, just to introduce ourselves, my name's Jacinta, or JC. No, you don't need to. I have absolutely no agricultural experience whatsoever prior to this project. I have very little growing or plant experience. I have been known to kill cacti with too much water, but over the past 6 months or so have been exposed to a lot of really interesting ideas and concepts, and had the chance to put in practice some of those ideas and practices. So that's yeah. So I'm really excited about how we can embed some more technology, because that's the other thing that I really enjoy doing as well.
I'm from Mexico. Why I'm 4 years old? Because 4 years ago I quit my job in Mexico. I used to be an agriculture engineering researcher and I quit, and I started living and searching opportunities in Japan, mainly because of my family, but also because I really wanted to be a farmer. So I had the opportunity to visit so many different systems all over many places, and I wanted to apply and also exchanging, especially living where I am doing this in Kosuka.
Hey. So that's a bit about us. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, please grab a drink. Thank you also, Alvin, once again for hosting us and having us at ABC Cafe. So yeah, grab a drink if you don't have one, settle down and enjoy talking about the project. So FarmLab is basically a plot of land where we're aiming to do 4 things. One is experiment with different farming and growing techniques. So that might be raised beds, it might be companion planting, milpa, it could be crop rotation, and so on. And experiment with different kind of techniques within that, whether that's sort of different kinds of trellises to see which way the plants might grow and so on. The second big component, being a hacker farm, is the technology component. And what we're really interested in doing is developing technology that has a really strong context or use. So it may not be that it's using the latest chip, but it might be using a low-cost chip that is more accessible, which reduces the cost of the sensor or the board, so therefore more people can use it. Part of the bigger vision is to gather and collate lots of data. So that can be very directly related, like soil and air temperature, humidity. It's also to collate information. Where we live, there's many of basically a lot of people are farmers, and a lot of the farmers are older, and they have this wealth of knowledge that's just kind of they've grown up with and around. So we want to talk with them as much as possible and absorb that knowledge, and then kind of write that up so that others can know about it too. And also just our experience. What do we observe in our experience? And then the final thing is to make it open and to share it with other people, so that if you're, for example, setting up your own place, or even if you're in urban Tokyo, how is it that these principles or these findings might change? And so there's a pool of knowledge that you can tap into to adapt as you see fit. Do you have anything to add? Some of the key ideas that we sort of drive the project is that when we're thinking about what to do and what to use, that we think about building a system. And what we mean by that is something that can go back in and of itself. So it's like a cycle versus something that constantly needs to be topped up. So at the beginning, it might be quite orchestrated, or it might be quite we need a lot of effort to set it up, but the idea is that it then needs minimal kind of input from us and then goes back into sort of more natural cycles. We talked about developing technology in context, so some of the projects that we have are sensor nodes, like I said, but also weather station, where you can get more information about the microclimate of the plot and then see how that might change over the years. Another big thing is building, and also, as Masa said, pest control, so the inoshishi come down and eat lots of stuff. And that's a problem also for the farmers. So the technology that we can experiment with and hone and sharpen on the plot may also be useful for them. And then the building community, and that has many different kinds of aspects. Hackerfarm as a community, it's helping us share and swap knowledge and skill sets, which is a really important aspect. It's also helping us reach out more to the local community. Adrian has a few stories of people driving by and stopping and going, what on earth is this? And can you show me this? But I'll let him tell that. And that's also part of the way of gaining local knowledge as well, so understanding and building community on different levels. And then, as we said, sharing the knowledge, the skills, and usually the food, because there's too much for one. So we had one, Bernie and Hiromi, who apparently lived off the tomatoes all summer. And so but that's actually really good because we couldn't possibly eat it all ourselves. Is there anything?
No, continue, but it's interesting because also, for example, from this sharing, we're learning that the beautiful cooking, all these things, and the creativity, like the making pesto from goma, and so tasty, and having all these dinners, unexpected dinners, just because we harvest a little from this. It was very satisfying.
So this is the FarmLab plot. It's this was in February. We got it in February. It's approximately 50 meters in length and about maybe 20 meters in width, but tapers towards tapers towards the end. So you can see sort of it tapering there. This is how we got it. It used to be a rice paddy. The owner lives across the road, and basically, as is common out in Kozuka and Kamagawa, doesn't want to maintain it anymore. So we don't pay anything to rent the land or anything like that. It's basically, the understanding is that we will maintain it and we'll keep the area around the gravesite weed free, basically.
There are many rules in the community, like if you had a plot, you have to keep it clean, and you have to grow this or that in this way. But for us here, we are making it slightly different. They accept that idea, but still keeping it nicely or clean. So this is very important. Just not having the plot, but we were able to make new things, but not so different from the rest of the people. This is important. But we are thinking the second stage, as later we will mention. But this first stage, we consider also how we interact safely with the community without getting a stronger link with them.
And actually, also what's interesting is that we're kind of okay where our plot is, but if you have a rice paddy field at the top of the hill, what you do on that rice paddy field affects further down the hill. So there's the social kind of etiquette and ties, but there's also the land ties as well. So with the plot, we're also thinking, well, how is that going to affect the surroundings? So the first thing we did was we basically kind of looked at and tried to map a little bit of the contour to watch where the water flow would go, was there any shelter from wind or rain, wind, how much sun it got, and we kind of based on that, we broke it into about 3 or 4 sections where we decided to do different types of farming. So you can see at the back there's the raised beds. There's another section now where we have soybeans, and then I will take you through the rest of it. One of the key things was that the materials that we sourced are from the area, and that goes back into kind of the cycle thing. So we got bamboo from behind HBO, which is the guest house that we have, and also behind Hackerfarm. And this is on someone's land, but we got permission to be able to cut. And some of the interesting things with this is that there's, which ties into the local knowledge, is that when you cut bamboo, you cut it about 1 metre up, because the plant still thinks that it's growing and it brings up nutrients, but then it eventually rots, and that means that there's less chance that it will come back in spring.
One of the things is that bamboo is considered a pest crop, and so you actually want to get rid of it, because once it starts growing, then it'll just grow everywhere, and then it's really hard to get rid of it.
Yeah, but aesthetically it's also quite nice as well. So
It's a free resource.
yeah. And so it's actually really interesting when you go into a shop and you see bamboo sort of holders, and you're like, oh, I could make that. Let's have a look at how they've done it. So you start to see things a bit differently. This is... we should bring some pandas. We'll have a little panda area on the flight. Yeah.
No pandas in Japan.
Be a bit hot for them. This is where we got the momigata from, which we needed for the raised beds. Again, that sort of brought us closer to the community through someone.
For those that don't know what momigata is, they're rice husks, which when the rice gets processed, the brown rice gets processed, then the husk is removed, and basically kind of the momigata is a waste product of like the rice processing that you see. So the white rice starts off as brown rice, and then the brown part is taken away. That's the momigata.
And cow poop. And this is Adrian's face when he saw it. So, do you want to talk about compost?
In the next one is, well, because yes, it's not fully composted. Still, you see, hot is steam. What you see, say it was 80% composted. It wasn't that smelly. I mean, but it wasn't fully composted. When you touch a full composted thing, it's just like soil, and has a very nice smell. This wasn't the case exactly, but still we were able to transport without much difficulty, and this helps a lot. So the materials we get where it was available. I mean, we didn't have the opportunity to choose so many sources, but it was good because some people commenting, we need straw, we need this, and some people offer, I bring you and prepare a small present to give to the owner, and then allow you to take as much as you want, and so on. So all this, again, personal interrelation plus the nice materials.
Yeah, and it gets back into the cycle because it's really valuable stuff. But if it's too fresh, it can burn the roots of the plant because there's too much nitrogen. We have to talk up too. We have to speak loud. So this is us gathering materials, some steaming, flying poop. Poop, compost. And as we realised how much we needed, we sort of upgraded the machinery. So this is Adrian borrowing one of the tractors from a group that have got a place out there. He's driving, yeah.
This is the other location.
Yeah. So this is, yeah. We cleaned it. We cleaned it.
Actually dump the poop straight into the back of the truck.
Well, we put a cover on it so we could drag it down.
The first time they did it, they didn't put the cover on, and so we had to clean all the poop.
So you learn a lot as you do. So it was February, so we wanted to get some potatoes in. So we basically put the pure compost onto the soil. First we found a tractor in the field that we needed to fix, and then we could take. So
basically the soil is very clayey. It was a bit compacted because the way they manage, and not exactly why they grow before. So we were not sure about so many different conditions, but we tried to improve quick to use this first season without waiting one more season. So basically we till like 20 centimeter, we mix with the compost to enrich the organic matter, and then we make beds like say 20 to 30 centimeter. So we bring the soil into the middle, like 90 centimeter width bed, to make a good soil bed, and also this allows that excess rain drain faster. So we control the water, the humidity, and the soil softness, can I say? Basically using this way, doing this way immediately.
Yeah.
We use this machine.
And this is the machine. But another interesting thing is I think Massa put a call out for people who had old tractors, and we got about 4 or 5 farmers saying, come and take ours, it's over in the field over there. And so it was a bit of a mission to get the tractor onto the K-truck and get the tractor off the K-truck, but we managed
but
it.
again, for free, just a small maintenance, and we get the machines.
For free. And so here we are, here I'm learning how to use it. We had 1 or 2 problems where the tractor would then just lurch off. Luckily, we had a ditch at the end, so it just went into the ditch and we tried it again. So we still need to do a little bit of maintenance. But it is actually quite interesting when you start using the bigger machinery, because you realise like safety, you have to be really careful.